Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. I'm MaryAnne Gilmartin, Executive Vice President for Forest City Ratner Companies. Today, we add a new twist to an old ritual. While we celebrate the groundbreaking of B2, the first Atlantic Yards residential building, you will see no shovels. Instead, today we're displaying a modular chassis, one of the 930 modular chassis that will be utilized to create B2's 363 apartments. Our commitment to the housing at Atlantic Yards never waned, nor did our commitment to the affordable housing. The new economic landscape post-2008, however, created unprecedented challenges. In response, we think we have developed a new way to build that allows us to achieve world-class design while attaining an even greater efficiency and sustainability. Every groundbreaking is preceded by a long road of design and engineering. For B2, though, the period was equally about R&D, a 2-year-plus immersion into a form of construction largely unknown in the United States, though precedents have been with us for decades. Today required unprecedented collaboration with government, engineers, architects, construction teams, leaders, and labor officials. Before I introduce our speakers, I'd like to recognize some of the very talented people who helped us crack the code. From shop architects, who also designed the arena, Chris Sharpless, Greg Pasquarelli. Our structural engineers from Arup Engineering, David Farnsworth. And my colleague, with whom I've worked closely with for 2 decades on so many buildings, including the arena, 8 Spruce, the New York Times building, our head of construction, Bob Sana. We are joined today by new partners, too. After years of working on it, Forest City and Skanska USA have created a new company, FCS Modular, to build modules in a factory located at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, the first major manufacturing expansion in New York City since manufacturing began its decline generations ago. This also required partnership with Andrew Kimball, our landlord at the Brooklyn Navy Yard. And we thank Andrew and his team for his patience and his commitment to our big idea. We'll invite you there this spring when we kick off the manufacturing portion of the building. As you hear today, there are many new benefits to modular construction, but one thing hasn't changed, and that's union labor that will build this building like all Forest City Ratner buildings. And so I am so very pleased to be joined today by Gary LaBarbera, the president of the Building and Construction Trades Council of Greater New York. Much of B2 will be built like all other buildings. Workers will start excavation and the foundation in the weeks ahead right here on the site. But this spring, approximately 125 workers will start creating modular apartments in the Navy Yard. This is not automated work. It's unionized men and women creating finished chassis, drywalling, wiring, installing appliances, all typical high-rise apartment finish work, but this time at the ground level rather than in the sky. Given that much of the work will take place off-site, there will be a significant reduction in truck traffic, noise, dust, and on-site waste. The living spaces, as you can see from the renderings, will be beautifully distinct from one another in size and shape, ceiling heights, and finishes. Modules can be set aside next to one another with open walls to create large, gracious living spaces. Even the facade of a modular building is unconstrained by factory fabrication. It can be identical to a conventional facade. Using modular technology, we also hope to ultimately reduce the building's construction time by as much as 8 to 10 months. This time savings will allow residents to move in faster, and once we secure financing, will allow Forest City to move on to the next building. The faster we're able to build these buildings, the sooner we'll be able to fulfill our promise of 2,250 units of affordable housing at Atlantic Yards. B2, like all of Atlantic Yards, is a public-private partnership at its best. We have worked closely with the Governor's Office, the Empire State Development Corporation, and an array of other state agencies, and we thank the state for its great partnership with us. We'd also like to welcome the following elected officials who are here today. We're expecting Congressmember Yvette Clarke, Assembly members William Boyland, Joan Millman, and City Council member Dominic Reckier Jr. and Matthew Eugene. Thank you for joining us. Mayor Bloomberg's commitment to public housing is well known in New York City and beyond, and his commitment to sustainability and beautiful design. The mayor's team, in particular HPD, HDC, and DOB, have been outstanding. Without the Bloomberg administration's support and appreciation for innovation, we would simply not be here today. I'm honored to introduce Mayor Michael Bloomberg.
Well, good morning, everyone, and MaryAnne, thank you. The Atlantic Yards has already been a huge boom for the borough of Brooklyn. It brought Major League sports back to Brooklyn. One team, a great NBA team, which I checked is in second place, Bruce. Now, I don't pick between the Knicks and the Nets. I root for New York. But you want both of them to have the best record. If they were tied for first, I'd be very happy. I'm in Brooklyn now, and I'm going to have to listen to the borough president afterwards. All during the construction of the Atlantic Yards, I kept saying to Bruce, look, two things. Number one, tell me where I send my check. I want to buy 4 tickets. And number two, you better make the beer and popcorn great. I can report the last time I was at a Nets game, the beer and popcorn were very good. I only had 3 beers and 4 things of popcorn, but I felt that the next morning. But the other thing that the Barclays Center has done is it's created thousands of construction jobs while it was being built, another 2,000 permanent jobs once it opened this fall, and most of them going, I'm happy to say, to Brooklyn residents. It also brought a tremendous amount of energy and economic activity to this area, as well as a group of visitors from around the region and really around the world. And more, this area is becoming an even greater place to live and to raise a family. And that's why new affordable housing, including almost 3,000 units of new affordable housing, remains a critical component of the Atlantic Yards plan. Today's groundbreaking is the first residential building at Atlantic Yards and takes us a big step forward in fulfilling the vision that Bruce and all of the rest of us had for this area. And I will say HPD and EDC, but particularly Bob Steele, our Deputy Mayor for Economic Development, really was the one that, from the city's point of view, made sure that this happened. Half of this building's 363 units will be affordable for low, moderate, and middle-income families. They'll be ready for occupancy in 2014. I will be unemployed then, so I might qualify for affordable housing. I've got to check and see. Although right now I only make $1 a year, so maybe I do already. The mind boggles at what my pension will be. They'll add to the nearly 143,000 units of affordable housing we've financed over the past decades through our new housing marketplace plan, and we're now 87% of the way towards our goal of 165,000 units by the end of 2014. So we're ahead of schedule. I don't think anybody ever thought that our 165,000 unit promise was realistic, or that particularly after what happened in 2008 we had any chance of succeeding. But the bottom line is we're ahead of schedule. We're going to deliver what this city needs, affordable housing so that people that built this city can stay in this city. And yeah. Now, about 35,000 of these new affordable units are here in Brooklyn. In all, the buildings in Atlantic Yards will bring another 2,250 affordable rental units to Brooklyn, as well as around 200 affordable units for home ownership. And this neighborhood, I think, is only going to get hotter as Atlantic Yards keeps moving forward. And it has become the home to some of the most cutting-edge residential construction anywhere. The modular construction that will be used for B2 and subsequent buildings in Atlantic Yards has the potential to really change the way cities are built. It makes construction cheaper, faster, and less disruptive than ever. Only about 40% of the actual construction of B2 will take place here on site. The other 60% of construction work will go on at a 100,000 square foot facility in the Marty Brooklyn Navy Yard. So it's all being built in Brooklyn, just not all on the site. And when fabrication goes into full swing, as we expect it to do in the spring of 2013, around 125 people will be at work building these components at the Navy Yard. That's 125 good union construction jobs in Brooklyn, so Gary's happy. It's also further evidence, I think, of our investment in the Brooklyn Navy Yard, and that's paying off. Today, around 6,400 New Yorkers work at the Yard, twice as many as worked there in 2001, and that number is going to double again in the next 5 years. But I will say the Yard isn't only creating jobs. It is also helping create the technologies that are keeping this city moving forward. And I want to thank everyone who helped make today happen. Bruce Ratner, MaryAnne Gilmartin, and the rest of the Forest City team who've been a real catalyst in this new chapter in Brooklyn's history. I want to thank Skanska, one of the great construction companies in the world, Forest City's partner in creating the Navy Yard construction facility, as well as Gary LaBarbera, president of the Building and Construction Trades Council of Greater New York, who I've had the privilege to work with for a long time, and he really has made a difference in understanding what we need, what his members need, and what the city needs, and finding ways to bridge any gaps that have occasionally come up. The city's Housing Development Corporation and the Department of Housing Preservation and Development helped finance this building and all of the new affordable apartments at Atlantic Yards. The state of New York also deserves our thanks for making the tax-exempt bond volume cap available to help fund this project. If you don't understand what that is, I'll be happy to explain it to you later on, or my staff will. I also want to acknowledge the city's Economic Development Corporation and the state's Empire State Development Corporation in their role in overseeing the Atlantic Yards development plan. We all owe a great debt of gratitude to the nonprofits representing this morning by Bertha Lewis and elected officials who work. Bertha brought along all her cousins and all the elected officials who work to ensure Atlantic Yards that meets the needs of the community. Today is another great day for Brooklyn, another step in the reconstruction, renovation, blooming of this borough. I think nobody 10 years ago would have expected the growth in Brooklyn that we've had. Everybody I ask, where are you staying? At a hotel? Where? In Brooklyn. Where are your kids living? Williamsburg, I mean, different places in Brooklyn. Where did you have dinner last night? Oh, this other restaurant in Brooklyn that I never heard of. This is the place where people want to be, and it's one of the 5 best boroughs that we have in this city. It is another great day, and let's hope Atlantic Yards continues to take shape. Thank you.
I'd like to acknowledge that Council members Brad Lander, Jermani Williams, and Tish James are here. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The person most responsible for this innovation and for the vision of Atlantic Yards is my mentor, my friend, Bruce Ratner. I'm pleased to introduce him, the CEO of Forest City Ratner Company.
Thank you, MaryAnne. Thank you, MaryAnne. So before I start, I just want to say, MaryAnne, thank you for your hard work. MaryAnne and Bob Santa really led this effort and really got it done with their wonderful team at Forest City Ratner, the wonderful people I get to work with every day. So thank you. Yes, I didn't have so much to do with this as that. They did a great job. So it's been a great year for our company. We leased our beautiful building, New York by Geary. We opened some great stores at our Ridge Hill project in Westchester. And of course, on September 28th, we opened our arena with Jay-Z to 8 sold-out concerts. But as amazing as it's been, an amazing year deserves an amazing end. And there is no better way to end this than with the beginning of a commencement, the commencement of work on B2. And B2 is really a remarkable building. Designed by shop architects with ARIP as the engineers, this will be the tallest building in the world using modular technology. And I must tell you, it also will be beautiful. You do not have to compromise on design when you build modular, and this building will prove that. This type of construction is very exciting, but what is most important and what I care most about is that it is affordable. That is the most important thing. 50% of the units in B2 will be affordable to low, moderate, and middle-income New Yorkers. 50%. That's 181 units spread throughout the building. You will not know an affordable unit from a market rate unit. It will have the same amenities, the same features from countertops to towel bars. It will look exactly like the market rate units and spread throughout the building. We were asked many times, where is the housing you promised? And it was said that we would build the Barclays Center and walk away. We said, we'll build this housing and we will build something that Brooklyn is proud of. And now, for any of those who doubted, we did it and we are here. We're here at the groundbreaking of B2. And it's just the beginning of our journey. It's the beginning of 2,250 affordable units that will be built at Atlantic Yards. It's the beginning of a new home for thousands of Brooklyn residents. So thank you all who have stood with us, and a special thanks to Acorn, Mutual Housing Association of New York Communities for Change, and members of the Atlantic Yards Community Benefit Agreement. We partnered together 8 years ago, and over that time, you have not only stood by us, you've become close friends and allies. Thank you for believing in Atlantic Yards. And I turn to that person in particular. So now, I wanted to introduce this next person. I'm not going to tell you who it is, but guess who it is. Our next speaker is someone who I wanted to personally introduce. Bertha Lewis is our partner, and she is my friend. By the way, how did I meet Bertha? She protested me for weeks and weeks and weeks. She did. Down in the lobby of my office building. And finally I said to my, quote, handlers, I said, bring her up and her posse. Up they came, and I joke with Bertha, it was love at first bite. And like all marriages, we've had our ups and downs, but it's a wonderful marriage, and it's one of the friendships I have valued over the years. One of the great things that's happened in my life is meeting you, Bertha. You are terrific. But she's dedicated her life to affordable housing and is executive director, first of Acorn. She helped grow that organization from 10,000 to 180,000 members. She's made the fight for affordable housing central to that organization and many other organizations. In addition to her work on affordable housing, Bertha has become a steadfast supporter of low-wage New Yorkers. She's helped organize daycare workers into a union. She's played a key role in fighting for minimum wage laws that help low-income workers. She's co-chaired the Working Families Party for 10 years. She founded the Black Institute recently to continue her lifelong work addressing issues of critical importance to the black community. And I guarantee that organization will become a force in this city and in this country. I guarantee that. I must acknowledge someone who is not with us today, someone we had hoped who would see this great day. John Kest, for many years, was our partner. John fought his entire life for those who could not fight for themselves. He fought for social justice, for change, and so many weeks, Bertha, I, John, the rest of us, and Ismini met together week after week after week to get this done. So we remember him in only the most wonderful, wonderful ways. Had it not been for him, we would not be here for today. So with that, Bertha, I know these last 2 weeks have been very difficult for you, and I appreciate your being here. Ladies and gentlemen, Bertha Lewis. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Those who know me know that I'm usually I'm shy and very retiring. But this, I am a little nervous. This project has been a long time in coming. I feel like I've been pregnant for 8 years. And finally, we're going to birth this baby. And I got 14 more to go. So thanks for knocking me up, Bruce. I want to say a little bit about what we did as New York Acorn and now as New York Communities for Change and Mutual Housing Association. When we first heard about this project, we didn't really know. We knew that the guy who we had protested was doing it, but we didn't know much about it. But what we wanted to do was to find out from our membership exactly what they thought about it. And so we polled our members. We did meetings. We did focus groups. We went around knocking on doors and saying, what is it that you want to see? And across the board, our members said, housing, 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 housing. And if you remember, the original proposition here was to be all luxury housing, which was going around in this borough. And so we developed a plan called the 50-50 plan. No one had really thought about that before, and we wanted it to be for everyone. Usually affordable housing was for very low and moderate. But we knew that there were folks who had held down this neighborhood for years, working families, nurses, and firemen that might not qualify to be affordable because they get pushed into market rate. We wanted to make sure that seniors had a place here. Not the, no, and I point to Marty because not that he is, Marty is a silver fox, but Marty wanted to make sure that housing was set aside for seniors, for grandparents that were now raising their children again. Bruce Ratner outraged developers. They said, how dare you? How dare you do this? You're setting a precedent. Now everybody will want 50-50. Guess what? It has changed the lexicon, and everybody does. There is an enormous need for affordable housing. My colleagues down here in the front know. Not only for homeless populations, but for working families and just folks and low-wage workers. This project was meant to be a model, not just for New York, but for the country, of how large developments could be done. You have to have a willing partner. We have to have someone who had a vision and said, yes, I'll sit down with you rabble-rousers, because we brought something to the table. And now here we are. Bruce Ratner could have walked away. He could have walked away every time. We suffered the worst economic crisis in this city, in this nation, and yet through it all, he stuck and he stayed. He could have walked away from the arena. He certainly could have walked away from the housing, but he didn't. There was no walking away. He is revolutionizing. And so today, I am a little nervous. I am a little excited. I have a lot of emotions with this because this is something that's been a long time in coming. I want to thank Ismini, who is the best housing brain in the world, the members of NYCC, New York Communities for Change, Mutual Housing Association, all my friends who I invited here who came. We even had back creating this Sean Donovan, who was the head of HPD, who President Obama was smart enough to make his HUD secretary. We had many people have come and gone. We had Jim Stuckey, where we had the first 5,000 person housing meeting, Bruce Bender, but most of all, who Bruce mentioned, my partner, and the man who had the vision and the guts and the steadfastness to imagine this. John is not here today, but John Kest will be in every stone, every brick, every pallet of cement, every modular unit as it rises. This is a testament, a physical testament to the work that John Kest did over his lifetime. Thank you, God. We're here. Thank you all.
Thank you, Bertha. You've all heard how the Brooklyn Borough President tirelessly urged Bruce Ratner to bring a professional sports team back to Brooklyn. Just as intensely, perhaps even more, Borough President Markowitz has been relentless in his call for affordable housing and jobs. With great gratitude, I give you the finest Borough President Brooklyn has ever had, Marty Markowitz.
Thank you. Thank you very, very, very much, Mary. And I have to tell you, these last few weeks for all of us have been gloomy, to say the least. Certainly both with the Hurricane Sandy and Newtown. But it's good to get together as we are this morning, something that puts a smile on our face, something that's positive and good. And let's hope that this sets the pattern for not only the rest of this year, but for all the years to come. And by the way, as I look out among you, I see some folks that weren't able to make the groundbreaking of the Barclays Center. Some of you weren't able to make the ribbon cutting when we opened the arena. But I want to say I'm thrilled you're here today. And as we say in Brooklyn, how sweet it is. Now, we had a phenomenal year with the triumphant grand opening of America's most beautiful arena, Barclays. And our borough is now home, as you know, to exciting world-class entertainment. And I must tell you, I was at the Rolling Stone show, and I watched the audience coming in. And I have to tell you, very few folks coming in recognized me, and I was thrilled. They came from all over the region and all over America and beyond. And all I can think is our hotel rooms that are filled, the restaurants that are jammed, all of that economic development and activity right here in Brooklyn where we've wanted it all these years. And I am thrilled. Thrilled. It's everything we expected. By the way, Bruce, the world didn't end. Atlantic Avenue is still there. DeKalb Avenue is still there. Flatbush Avenue is still there. You can actually, in fact, some would argue that the traffic is moving faster on Flatbush Avenue than before Barclays. Anyway, now we've got our Brooklyn Nets, and you know they play in-your-face Brooklyn-style basketball, and I'm convinced that they will be NBA champs. I know that. I know we won't have to say too often, wait till next year. But after all, this is Brooklyn. That's okay. We're patient. And soon the New York Islanders, oh, I can't wait. So in other words, the world is coming to Brooklyn. But the year's not over yet. We've got plenty of excitement left with today's groundbreaking on the first residential building of Atlantic Yards project. And thanks to Cousin Brucey, that's what I call him, Bruce Ratner, this kid from Cleveland and his family adopted Brooklyn and made it happen. So from the Midwest to where America truly begins, the heart of America, Brooklyn, thank you very, very much. Thank you. And Bruce, thank you, Bruce. You and MaryAnne and Bob and so many, really, you stuck with it. You could have walked away, as Bertha said, dozens of times. In fact, there were quite a few that were praying you'd walk away. But you knew that Brooklyn was worth investing in. You knew that the best days of Brooklyn were yet to come. So, Bruce, I again say thank you and your entire staff. Each and every one of you are in the history books of Brooklyn forever. Mayor Bloomberg, thank you, of course, for your great support. the Empire State Development Corporation, Gary LaBarbera, Bill Flemming, Bertha, of course, and everyone connected. All the ministers that are here, Pastor A.R. Bernard, I salute you. I'm known as Marty B. in Brooklyn. Good to see you, Pastor. Now, even with all the exciting changes and development we've seen over the last few years, we have to make sure that Brooklyn remains Brooklyn. And that means we have a responsibility to ensure that our borough always has enough affordable housing. That should be job one, because development and affordability can and should go hand in hand. And that's why I'm particularly thrilled about what we're beginning today. The promise was made that in the full build-outs, the project would provide 2,250 affordable housing units for Brooklynites of low, moderate, and middle income. Well, today represents the first down payment on that promise. I can't wait for the project to be completed, because what it will do, it will help ensure here in Prospect Heights the rich ethnic and income diversity that we celebrate in Brooklyn. Not only that, we'll be using this modular construction model, which is an innovative new process that, as you've heard, but what I'm excited about is that a major new industry in Brooklyn is about to begin. It's about to begin, creating the very jobs for the Brooklynites that need those jobs in neighborhoods throughout the borough. And we can very well make this an industry to export to other parts of the region and the country, and it will all be made in Brooklyn, USA. Now, how does that sound, huh? Doesn't that sound beautiful? So, bottom line, what's good for Atlantic Yards is good for Brooklyn. It's a great day, and may I wish you all, for those of you that are already finished with my tribe, hope you had a nice Hanukkah. And then, let me wish you all a very Merry Christmas and Happy Kwanzaa and a great, happy, and peaceful and healthy New Year, and let it be the best year for all of us. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Marty. In addition to our government partners, we would not be here today without our financial partners. Our lenders, the Bank of New York Mellon, Capital One, and the New York City Housing Development Corporation. Thank you for your confidence in us and in the great borough of Brooklyn. For those of us immersed in our local market, many hardly think of anything real estate related outside of New York. For those of us that Forest City Ratner companies, however, we rely on critical support by way of Cleveland, Ohio. And for it, we are immensely appreciative. Here to say a few words is David LaRue, CEO of our parent company, Forest City Enterprises. David?
Thank you, MaryAnne, Mayor Bloomberg, Borough President Markowitz, and the other speakers and guests. It's always easy to follow Marty up on stage, so this will be an encore. Again, I'm President, David LaRue, President, Chief Executive Officer of Forest City Enterprises. And on behalf of the Board of Directors of Forest City and the entire Forest City Enterprises organization nationwide, we are proud to join today here with Bruce, our New York team, to celebrate this very important occasion. This is truly a great day for Brooklyn and a great day for Forest City Enterprises. This first residential building of 363 units is just the beginning. Thousands of additional apartments will follow here at Atlantic Yards. The construction will provide new jobs, much needed new housing, including a substantial amount of affordable housing in Brooklyn. Even more exciting to me as the CEO will be the grand opening of this building in 18 months as we welcome the first residents to our site here at Atlantic Yards. B2 also signifies the continuation of our commitment as a company to Brooklyn and the New York City area. This is our largest core market for our company and a place where we continue to focus significant amount of energy, time, capital, and hard work, and it's evidenced again here today with the success of this groundbreaking. A substantial amount of our investment has been right here in Brooklyn, starting with Metro Tech Center, Atlantic Center, Atlantic Terminal, DeKalb Brooklyn, the Barclays Center right next door, and now here today, B2. All of these projects contributed to the success of Brooklyn, and they also contributed to the success of Forest City Enterprises. This is a true sign of a great partnership. Both sides benefit, the community benefits, and we all move forward together in a positive manner. As Bruce often says, this is the greatest borough in the greatest city on earth. We couldn't agree more. Thank you again for being here today. We extend our sincere appreciation to all of our partners and to the citizens of Brooklyn for their continued support. Thank you very much, and happy holidays.
If it's not a union job, it's not a Forest City Ratner job. 2 words, quality and safety. That's why we build union. Gary LaBarbera is a friend and partner, and he is a visionary. I give you Gary LaBarbera.
Thank you. Thank you, MaryAnne. Good afternoon. First of all, let me congratulate Bruce and all the distinguished guests up here for today. It's a big day. A lot of people have been anticipating this day for a very long time, and the day has come. Let me just quickly say a few words. About a year and a half ago, Bruce Ratner came in to see the executive board of the New York City Building and Construction Trades Council. For those of you who don't know who that is, it's 25 heads of all of the construction unions in this city of New York, representing over 100,000 unionized construction workers. And Bruce came in, and Forest City Ratner and Bruce Ratner in particular have a very long, strong partnership with the building trades. In fact, going back to 2008, when our economy tanked, his building on Beekman Street was in jeopardy. He came to us, and he was the first partner in the industry that worked out with us a project labor agreement that enabled that building to go forward, which led literally to scores of other projects and billions of dollars of economic activity in the construction industry. And once again, based on that partnership, Bruce came to us and said, you know, I've made a commitment to the residents in the community of Brooklyn to build affordable housing. And I've looked at every way possible to do this. And with the economy the way it is, and you heard about financing, the only way I can see doing this is by introducing a new concept to New York City, which includes modular construction. And he said to us, and the only way I'll do that is union with you, because I believe in our partnership, and I believe in the talent and skill that the unionized construction trades bring to the construction industry. And that was the cornerstone of the beginning of a year-and-a-half conversation with Bruce, MaryAnne Gilmartin. Bob Santa gets a lot of credit, really was a details guy, and was on the phone with me quite a bit, and I with him quite a bit, attended many, many meetings. And based on this partnership and relationship, we were able to understand modular construction, and we saw that without that modular construction, that these projects would more than likely not go forward. And we, too, in the building trades, have a sense of community and a commitment to the community, and we're equally concerned about affordable housing. Because, in fact, many of our members would fall into affordable housing units. So we began a long journey, a journey that was ultimately culminated after a year and a half of negotiations to something that I think is groundbreaking. And that is, we got a neutrality agreement from Forest City Ratner. There were employees hired to do the prototypes. We went in, we organized those employees. We got recognition, voluntary recognition. We then went into negotiations, and we negotiated a fair contract and a different technology in the industry that's going to create, at first, 125,000 union construction jobs with the building trades and hundreds more jobs on this site. Now, the reality is that this may not only apply in the future to this particular project. In fact, this may be a means and a method to create work opportunities that, were it not for modular construction, would not exist. Projects would not be able to go forward. And that's why we are so pleased to be partners with Forest City Ratner, and as you know, they're with Skanska, to be a part of this evolution in the construction industry, this new technology, because we ultimately believe it's going to create more work opportunities and generate more economic development, which is not only good for the residents and businesses of Brooklyn and every borough, but for the economy as a whole. So Bruce and the Forest City Ratner team and Bertha and all the people, MaryAnne, that have been so involved and so committed to this project, I'm very pleased to say today that New York City Building Trades is proud to call you a partner. We look forward to commencing construction. We look forward to building a successful project, and we really deeply appreciate that you recognize the talent and skill and the quality and the safety that unionized construction through the building trades brings to this city and that will bring to this project and to this borough. Thank you all very much. God bless you. God bless Brooklyn. God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. And finally, I have the great privilege of introducing our newest partner, Skanska, one of the most respected construction firms in the world. Skanska recognized the value potential of high-rise modular and worked overtime to forge a partnership with us in Forest City Skanska Modular. We are also fortunate to have Skanska as the lead contractor for the on-site construction of B2. Our work with Skanska involved the effort of many, but one individual stands out. Skanska's USA CEO, Bill Flemming. He was an early believer in our idea when few in his industry dared. Bill Flemming toiled away to gain the corporate support of his parent company abroad to try something here that's never been done before. And finally, Bill Flemming led a team of Skanska professionals with a level of determination, creativity, and commitment unheard of in the construction industry today. I give you Bill Flemming.
Thanks very much, MaryAnne, for those kind words. And I want to thank everybody for joining in this momentous occasion today. It's really a great honor to be here, and Skanska is proud. Many of you may not know who Skanska is as a company, but I want to tell you our work has been around for many, many years. We've been in New York City for over 100 years, and Skanska has been involved with many projects in the New York area, very high-profile projects, such as the 2nd Avenue subway line, the MetLife project, the new stadium in New Jersey, home to the New York Jets and Giants. We've done projects at the World Trade Center. We're doing the rebuild of the Hub Center there now. But we're also not a stranger to Brooklyn either. We've done many successful projects here in Brooklyn. Most recently, the signature projects we've done is the Brooklyn Bridge Park, which we're quite proud of. We've done the Brooklyn Children's Museum, and currently we're working on the iconic Brooklyn Bridge. So quite a lot of work in Brooklyn, and we're proud to be in this community. Today marks a major milestone not only for our company, but for the entire construction industry itself in New York City. Today we are throwing out the traditional method of construction, taking on an industrialized approach to building an innovative project where workers are safer because they're not up in the air in a ground-controlled climate. We're also providing a more sustainable construction where waste is minimized in the construction stream, and it's a better environment for the community at large. For the first time, a residential project in the New York region, this traditional construction approach is being substituted for this new approach. It's going to be safer, faster, more energy efficient, and more affordable. With our partnership between the developer and the contractor, we are also creating a factory where the bulk of the construction will occur. And this is a creative new entity and a new delivery method that has not been seen before, where we forged a partnership with our developer. That's another innovative approach to what we're going to be bringing to this community. Skanska is proud to have partnered in the development of this innovative technology also. And we're also proud of Forest City and Gary as our partners moving forward. So the techniques that we'll use to build the B2 project will dramatically transform the way buildings are built for years to come. Brooklyn should be proud to say they did it first. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. No more speakers, but finally, I'd like to thank my colleagues at Forest City. The ceremony took longer than it takes to build the modular building. So getting here was the work of many. So many people within Forest City, but a few stand out for their exceptional dedication, and I must mention them. Roger Krulak, Melissa Birch, Susie Yu, Scott Stutman, David Berliner, Chris Clayton, Livia Corridor, John Hunt, David Esterman, Howard Klein, Adam Green, Lauren Dew. Thank you all for making it happen. And thank you for listening. I'd like to ask our speakers to join us in the chassis.